In a world filled with sorcerers, there was a man known by the title Demon Lord. His name was Fiatus. His friends no longer saw him as a normal human being. Because of that, he longed to be defeated one day, just so they would realize he was human like them. But all those who could ever surpass him had died. One day, as he stood before the corpse of one of his friends, he made a decisive choice: to move to another world. In a distant realm, a couple was celebrating the 10th birthday of their child, whom they named Ard Meteor. And thus, the man once known as the Demon Lord was transported into a new world, now bearing the name Ard Meteor. Ard thought to himself, I don't know whether this is good luck or misfortune. The level of education and magic here is terribly low compared to my original world. But my physical health and stamina have become excellent, and I've become highly skilled in martial arts without even trying. He went up to his room, thinking about making normal friends. People who wouldn't always look at him with fear. He heard the sounds of children outside, so he looked through the window and saw them playing. He thought, in my world, no one dared even speak to me directly. Come, talk to me. I'll allow it. But when they saw him, they were terrified and ran away. He said to himself, even after moving to another world, this terrifying aura still clings to me. Still, he did not give up. He decided that next time, he would be the one to initiate the conversation. He saw a group of girls passing by and decided to ask them to be his friends. But he felt intense anxiety, pain in his stomach, and his facial expressions were frightening. The girls ran away. He stopped them quickly and said, be my friends, and together we shall rule half the world. But fear still had control over them, and they ran again. Ard fell into deep despair and said to himself, I, the Demon Lord, who has conquered countless nations, buried numerous heroes, defeated leaders, and I still can't get a few human children to do what I want. He went into the forest, venting his anger by destroying trees with magic, then stopped himself saying, I must stop. I don't want to destroy this world's ecosystem. At sunset, he sat in front of the house when Mr. Haido, his father's friend, appeared looking deeply disheartened. Ard said to him, I can't make any friends. Haido replied, I'll tell you a simple method. Ard asked, is it a spell or a complex political strategy? Haido answered, neither. No matter the person or the moment, always remember to be kind and respectful. Ard became very excited and immediately went to try this new method. He said to the children playing under his window, would you like to play with me? And to the girls he said, can I get to know you? But the image they already had of him as a suspicious man was too deeply rooted. They feared him and ran away. Once again, he went into the forest and said to himself, looks like I'll have to destroy this world. Suddenly, a group of monsters appeared behind him. He burned them to ash. But then, he heard a girl screaming. He flew quickly to her and found her fighting a massive savage wolf. She hurled a fireball at it, but it was too weak. Meanwhile, Haido was speaking to Jack and Carla, Ard's parents. Ever since then, my daughter has isolated herself from the world because of all the gossip and bullying. Even with me, her father, she barely speaks. At that moment, the girl cast lightning magic on the wolf, and this time she managed to kill it. She noticed Ard's presence, grew fearful and asked, what do you want? He answered, I saw your fighting technique. It was impressive. She grimaced in disgust, and Ard thought to himself, is she the type who dislikes praise? My compliments are backfiring. Then he told her, it may be rude to say this, but I think you still have a long way to go in refining your strength. She grew upset, and he thought, I've gone too far. Praise and criticism both aren't working. What should I do? He said to her, if you'd like, we could be friends. She replied, don't be ridiculous. Someone like you could never understand me. You know nothing about me. She burst into tears and ran away. She returned to her father, Haido, who was saying farewell to Jack before departing. Ard returned home, discouraged, and was shocked to learn that the girl was Haido's daughter. The next day, he continued chasing after her, trying to convince her to be his friend, but she kept fleeing and rejecting him. That evening, while she was training in the forest, Ard appeared suddenly and said, I know you come here to release your anger, Irina, so I came to take you home. But she ignored him and ran away. Ard returned to his room, thinking of a plan to make Irina accept his friendship. Suddenly, he heard screaming from the village. He rushed outside and found a group of goblins attacking the villagers. His father, Jack, came out to fight them and told him, go back inside and hide. Then Haido appeared and said to Jack, please help me. She went to the mountain and hasn't returned. Ard blamed himself. It's my fault. She went to the mountain because I was chasing her. Haido said, leave this to me. Then he flew rapidly toward the forest. At the same time, a group of goblins had surrounded Irina in the forest. She dropped her weapon and told the goblin leader, I have no friends, no family. She recalled the words people had said about her when she was young. Irina is a terrifying monster. She threw her weapon and told the goblins, do with me as you please. The goblins lunged at her. She screamed, somebody help me! Suddenly, a magical shield formed around her, pushing them away. Ard descended and said, I came to save you from these weak monsters. She told him, run, they'll hurt you. But Ard used lightning magic and eliminated most of them. Then he looked at the leader and said, you won't lay a finger on Irina or me. If you flee now, I'll spare you. The leader ordered the goblins to attack, but with a single glare, Ard reduced them all to ash. The leader panicked and tried to escape, but Ard turned him to ash as well. Meanwhile, Jack said to Haido, Ard hasn't returned yet. Haido replied, I'm sure he's fine. He promised me he'd bring Irina back, and I believe in him. Jack added, by the way, isn't flight magic a lost skill? At that moment, Ard asked Irina, are you all right? She responded, why did you save me? I wanted to die. He said, please, don't say such sorrowful things. She said, you'll never understand how I feel. I'm alone, isolated. He replied, I may not know what led you to be this way, but I'm probably the one who understands the pain of isolation most. That's why I want to be your friend. She said, you're a liar. You'll betray me one day. He said, I won't betray you. I'll never betray a friend again. Long ago, I betrayed my dearest friend. That's why I want this friendship to be eternal. She said, but I'm selfish. I'm not smart, and I'm no fun to be around. He said, that's not true. I enjoy every moment I spend talking to you. And so, the greatest demon lord in history, Fiatus, gained a lifelong friend, and they lived together in happiness. After some time had passed, Irina entered Ard's room and said, how about we join the Academy of Magic? The next day, they headed together to the academy, where they were welcomed by Count Goldie, the academy's director. He said, welcome. As expected from the children of the three heroes, your aura is truly exceptional. Ard thought to himself, true, Irina is the heir of a respected baron, but my parents were just simple farmers. Goldie continued, I've heard tales of your great adventures. It's said you defeated hundreds of ghouls during the demon attack. For that reason, you'll be exempted from the practical entrance exam. However, you must still pass the written test. After the exam ended, they went to check the results. Irina found she had scored remarkably high, but Ard's name wasn't on the board. He thought, I knew something was off. The questions were way too easy. Was it a trick exam? Eventually, Irina spotted his name. It turned out he had received a 0. Suddenly, Goldie appeared again and said, congratulations to both of you. Ard, your answers were brilliant. Perfect even. Ard, confused, replied, but I got a 0. Goldie said, yes, because all of your answers were considered incorrect based on the modern ideological standards. But in truth, they were far beyond those standards. So advanced, in fact, that even 6th-tier mages would struggle to think of the improvements you proposed. Thanks to you, we can now develop new magic circles of unique classes. He then turned to the students and declared, students, consider yourselves lucky to be among this young man. He is a genius. He carries the blood of the great sorcerer Ard Meteor and his wife Carla, who once vanquished the evil overlord. Afterward, Ard and Irina entered their classroom to find a crowd of students eager to befriend them. While observing the scene, Ard heard a student yelling at a girl, how can a weak girl like you even think of enrolling in this school? He then struck her, knocking her to the ground. Irina stepped forward and said firmly, leave her alone. The boy responded, I am Eraldo Spencer. Even a girl like you must have heard of the noble Spencer family. That girl belongs to a family that serves mine. She is my servant. You have no right to interfere. Ard stepped in and said, you're mistaken if you think that gives you the right to do whatever you please. Apologize to her now. Eraldo defiantly replied, if you can beat me in a duel, I will. Irina whispered to Ard, he's incredibly strong. He's the youngest in the kingdom to achieve a 4th-ranked title. Teacher entered and asked, what is going on here? Ard was stunned. I know that voice. It's Olivia, one of the Demon Lord's top generals. Why is she here? Olivia looked at him and asked, are you the cause of this commotion? He replied, yes. Then he thought, she must still be angry that I suddenly abandoned my mission and crossed into another world. If she realizes I'm actually Varvatos, she might try to kill me. Olivia said, in any case, I will allow the duel. In the arena, Eraldo cast lightning magic at Ard, but Ard remained completely unharmed, astonishing everyone. He had blocked the attack without a single chant. Eraldo then fired a series of fireballs. Impressive that you're still standing after getting hit by my mega flame. Ard replied, that performance is pathetic. I get it. I've been there too. I used to give ridiculous names to my weak spells and act dramatic when casting them, but lies won't help you. They only make you look pitiful. Furious, Eraldo unleashed more fireballs, but Ard deflected them all without moving. One of the students exclaimed, "He's blocking his Mega Flame like it's nothing." Ard said, "That's not Mega Flame. It's just a series of regular fireballs. Let me show you what true Mega Flame looks like." He then released an enormous wave of fire. Terrified, Eraldo shouted, "I surrender." Then he knelt and apologized to the girl he had insulted. Ard ceased the flames, and Eraldo was unharmed. Olivia remarked, "You cast a second spell to protect him, didn't you?" Ard answered, "Yes, I created a barrier around him while controlling the Mega Flame. Without it, he would have turned to dust." She said, "In other words, you performed a double incantation." He replied, "So what?" Everyone around him looked stunned and fearful. Olivia added, "In this era, double incantation is considered a lost technique. Everyone knows that. So tell me, how can you perform it? And why are you unaware of basic facts in this age?" She walked away saying, "One day, I'll uncover your true identity." Later, the teacher gathered the students and said, "Form groups of 3 for the field training mission." Everyone flocked around Ard and Irina to join them, but Irina approached the girl Eraldo had insulted and said, "Join us." She asked for her name. "I'm Ginny." The teacher assigned their mission. "Your task is to kill a B+ ranked black wolf, skin it, and bring it back." One student exclaimed, "This is basically sending us to die." The teacher looked at Ard and said, "For you, this mission should be trivial, right?" Ard took Irina and Ginny and left. Soon they encountered 5 wolves. Ginny panicked, but Ard and Irina eliminated them with ease. Ginny said, "I'm sorry. I'm just holding you both back." Ard replied, "I can teach you. I'll help you regain your confidence." Ginny became motivated and agreed. Ard ignited flame magic. She tried to copy him but failed, saying, "I'm useless." He said, "The Sakichi are a demon race known for their magical proficiency." She responded, "Then I must be a failure among the succubi." He told her, "Don't give up. I still have another technique I can teach you." Suddenly, a wolf appeared behind them. Ard said, "Perfect time to show you this technique. It's called script magic, a method of quickly activating spells by projecting simple circles into the air." Irina said, "I've never heard of that before." He replied, "Of course, I invented it." They were both shocked. He explained, "I designed it to simplify spellcasting by drawing from ambient natural energy. It doesn't drain your magical power, and it isn't affected by your physical state." Ginny tried the technique and succeeded. Suddenly, the ground split, and they fell to a lower level where the beast leader awaited. Ard said, "Let's continue the lesson. On him." The beast attacked with a massive hammer, but Ard stopped it with one finger and said, "When using script magic, always leave some distance between you and the enemy." He then hurled it away and destroyed it using script magic. He turned to Ginny and said, "Now summon your courage. Say farewell to your past. If you truly wish to change, show that desire now." Ginny stood up, used script magic, and defeated the beast leader. When they returned, the teacher said to Ard, "I need to speak with you." She brought him to the director. The director said, "I want you to participate in the upcoming student battle event. Her Majesty the Queen will attend. Give a memorable performance for her." Ard replied, "With all due respect, I refuse." The director said, "This academy is a national institution. That event is our chance to request a larger budget from the Queen." Ard answered, "So you want to use me as a tool to gain funding? Sorry, I believe the essence of magic is to help those in need, not to show off even for a budget." Olivia interrupted, saying, "Seems like you share my brother's twisted sense of aesthetics. He was a fool who said the same things, then vanished into another world without warning. I never got the chance to ask him what those ideals meant." Ard said to the director, "May I have some time to think?" Olivia looked at him and said, "I will uncover your origins, son of the great sorcerer." After that, Ard stepped out and encountered Jenny, who offered that the 3 of them go out together. On their way, they overheard some people in one of the corridors saying, "The Queen will fall into our hands once the magical circle is complete. She won't escape this time." So the 3 of them descended into the lower passages, and Ard, Jenny, and Irina began tracking them. Ard saw a magical circle drawn on the wall and said, "I think I understand what's going on." Suddenly, several members of the group appeared behind them. Ard said, "It was a trap after all." The group leader said, "You took the bait so easily. Your souls are now in our hands." Ard replied, "I don't think you intend to kill us. If that were your goal, you would have attacked from behind, but instead, you deliberately spoke in a suspicious way to lure us in. That means you want us alive." The leader became furious and activated the magical circle, igniting Ard in flames. He said, "We only need to keep our target alive." But to everyone's surprise, the fire had no effect on Ard. who calmly said, "The trap you set poses no threat to me." Then he cast lightning magic toward their circle, shattering the wall. He unleashed his magic again, electrocuting all of them except the leader. He said, "I left you conscious on purpose. If you confess why you're targeting us, I won't be harsh." Suddenly, the leader transformed into a demon, opened a rift in the ceiling and flew through it. Ard flew after him and launched magical flames at him, but the fire was extinguished. The demon then seized a young girl and used her as a threat. Ard thought to himself, "So this is how chaos will spread in the city." Then he addressed the people saying, "I am Ard Meteor, son of the great sorcerer Jack Meteor, and I will defeat this demon now." The demon replied, "But I'm holding a hostage." Ard responded, "Where is she? Since when did you start imagining you have a hostage?" The demon searched for the girl but couldn't find her. He asked, "What did you do?" Ard replied, "Just a simple illusion spell." Still, it's a shame how far demons have fallen. The demon launched a bolt of lightning at him, but it didn't hit. He tried to flee, but Ard chased him down and eliminated him. The people were amazed and cheered for him in admiration. The next day, the queen summoned him to the palace. Irina said to her, "It's been a long time, Ro." The courtiers were shocked by her informal tone with the queen. Irina said to them, "Ro is my friend. I won't bow to her without reason." The queen laughed and said, "You've never changed." Then she addressed everyone. "Irina is my friend, and I allow her bluntness and honesty. I will not accept any criticism of her." She then turned to Ard and said, "I summoned you today to reward you." Ard thought to himself, "How did Uncle used to speak to kings in such situations? I was the one who summoned rulers when I was the king of demons, but this is my reality now." The queen said, "Your achievement deserves a reward, and I'm impressed by you. Therefore, you shall become my husband." Her aide exclaimed, "You've lost your mind." Irina said to her, "It's been a long time, Ro." The courtiers were shocked by her informal tone with the queen. Irina said to them, "Ro is my friend. I won't bow to her without reason." The queen laughed and said, "You've never changed." Then she addressed everyone. "Irina is my friend, and I allow her bluntness and honesty. I will not accept any criticism of her." She then turned to Ard and said, "I summoned you today to reward you." Ard thought to himself, "How did Uncle used to speak to kings in such situations? I was the one who summoned rulers when I was the king of demons, but this is my reality now." The queen said, "Your achievement deserves a reward, and I'm impressed by you. Therefore, you shall become my husband." Her aide exclaimed, "You've lost your mind." Irina said, "That's impossible." The queen replied, "Let's consider it a joke for now. As for your reward, I grant you the title of 5th rank sorcerer." Everyone objected. "How can a village boy receive such a rank?" Ard said to her, "With all due respect, it would be better if you granted me a modest wish instead of the promotion. I'd like you to increase the budget of the National Label Academy of Magic." She asked him, "Is that all you ask for? What do you gain from that?" He answered, "It's an expression of gratitude toward Count Goldie, who looks after us." The queen said, "You express gratitude instead of seeking personal gain. Humble and kind. You've earned even more of my admiration." Then she added, "As a reward, I will grant you the 5th rank title, raise the school's budget, and also grant Irina the 5th rank title. But in return, you must join the Queen's Shadows, my personal squad working directly under me." Her aide said, "We cannot grant a 5th rank title to a daughter of the Olade family." The queen responded, "It's fine. She would have earned it eventually anyway." At sunset, the leader of the group Ard had defeated said, "Ard has shown power beyond our expectations. Now we know the strength of the great sorcerer's son, yet he will never match that monster." Someone asked, "Can we trust that woman?" Another answered, "There's no need to worry. Her goal is to destroy the world." The leader said, "All of this is to restore the world to its rightful state under our powerful leader's rule." The next day, the headmaster said to a girl named Jessica, "Ard refused to participate in the battle event." She replied, "The queen promised to increase the budget, so there shouldn't be a problem." He said, "Actually, it's more complicated than that. I had hoped Ard would begin his academic career at our academy, but there will be many opponents. Nobles who have become professors won't accept my cousin as one of their own. I thought that if he gave an exceptional performance in the event, no one could object." Jessica said, "Leave it to me." That night, Jessica visited Ard and said to Jenny and Irina, "Why don't you two participate in the upcoming event? If you perform well, the plan to make Ard a teacher will succeed. Being a student no longer suits him. He should join the faculty. And if you win, The fact that he trained you will prove his leadership ability. The next day, the event began with a match between two female students. The three heroes, Carla, Jack, and Ulhite, were commenting on the duels. Waleed said, Li Ming's offensive magic skills are truly impressive, and her opponent, Lizzie, is showing remarkable intelligence. It's hard to predict the winner. Olivia said to Ard, these two students are amazing. They may have enough talent to become Varto's apprentices. Ard replied, I've never met Varto before, so I wouldn't know. The match ended with Lizzie's victory. Then it was Irina's turn, and Ard hoped she would lose without suffering any serious injuries. Her opponent attacked with a fireball. Irina dodged it, then used text-based magic, surrounding her opponent with magical circles. She launched a lightning strike and won the match. As she left the arena, Jenny was preparing to enter the next match. She said to Irina, well done. Irina replied, we'll meet in the finals, so do your best until then. Both Jenny and Irina kept winning every match until they reached the final. The announcer commented, Irina has shown brilliant talent. Ulhite recalled her childhood when she was bullied and said, I think Ard's supervision had a major impact. He's been training her daily since they met. It's frightening that Ard possesses such leadership skills. The moment of the match between Jenny and Irina arrives, and everyone is filled with excitement for this decisive confrontation. The referee gives the signal to begin, but suddenly, a member of the cult appears among the audience. The girl next to him screams and transforms into a demon, followed by the appearance of other hidden demons in the stands. Panic erupts. The crowd begins to flee, and explosions rock the building. Jessica turns to Ard and says, it seems this isn't the only place they've chosen to stir up chaos. There's no time to investigate. We must split up immediately. I'll take Irina and Jenny to deal with the situation. You and Olivia save the city. Everyone scatters. Jenny and Irina engage in brutal battles, eliminating a large number of demons. Then suddenly, a monster made of diamond appears, completely unaffected by their magic. Baron Olid appears and attacks it using wind magic, shattering it. But suddenly Jessica stabs him from behind. Irina asks in shock, why did you do that, Jessica? Jessica replies, unfortunately, I'm not Jessica. My real name is Zerid, Queen of Dragons. And the purpose of all this is to capture you, Irina. Irina trembles in fear. Zerid says, there's no need to be afraid. It's not in our interest for you to die. If you come with us quietly, we won't hurt you. Jenny charges at her and says to Irina, I'll distract her. Run. But with a single blow, Zerid sends Jenny flying. As she approaches to kill her, Irina grabs her and screams, don't hurt my friend. Zerid strikes Irina hard on the back, knocking her to the ground. Irina says, take me. But if you harm Jenny, I'll bite my tongue and die. Zerid spreads her wings, grabs Irina, and flies off. Meanwhile, Ulhite wakes up in the hospital. Ard is treating him and asks what happened. Ulhite responds, Irina was kidnapped by the Queen of Dragons, Zerid. She's the one who nearly destroyed the world thousands of years ago. She's a creature equal in power to demons and the most wicked lords. Ard says, don't worry, I will rescue her. Goldie interjects, but even with your current strength, it's impossible to defeat the Queen of Dragons. Ard replies, the word impossible doesn't exist in my dictionary. Olid says, I have what you need. He takes him to the royal vault and tells him, take whatever you need from here. Ard begins preparing for battle. Meanwhile, Jack says to Ulhite, are you sure about this? Ulhite answers, we have no choice but to rely on him. Jack says, that's not what I meant. Aren't you going to tell him about you and Irina? Ulhite responds, meeting Ard pulled Irina out of her isolation. She used to see every stranger as a threat. I realized that hiding the truth forever was impossible. But she changed after meeting him. Even though he didn't know her secret, I couldn't bring myself to tell him. How could I tell him that Irina, the only true friend he found, isn't who he thinks she is? At that same time, Irina dreams of her first moment with Ard when she asked him, will you ever hate me, no matter what? He replied, I promise that will never happen. And by the way, I have a quick question. Can you tell me your true identity? When she tells him, he vanishes before her eyes. She wakes up terrified to find herself bound. Zerid, Queen of Dragons, says, how are you feeling? I'd like to begin my plan now. I want the blood running through your veins. Irina is shocked and asks, how do you know the truth about me? Zerid summons a monster called the Orphan of Chaos and says, he was created from the flesh of one of the wicked lords whom the demon king Fravatos dismembered long ago. By sacrificing the blood of the wicked lords that flows in your veins, I'll be able to summon one of them from the sealed dimension. Irina asks, why would you want to do that? Zerid replies, because I want to destroy this world, a world of illusions, affection, and friendships. That has been my goal since I awakened thousands of years ago. Irina says, "We won't let you. Ard will come for me without a doubt." Zared responds, "He does possess inhuman strength, but he's still just human. If he discovers your secret, what will happen? Will he hate you? Will he see you as a monster?" Irina remembers the nightmare she saw. At that moment, Zared removes the magical barrier around her, and the monster opens its mouth toward her. Meanwhile, Ard finishes his preparations, wearing his armor and holding his spear. Before departing, Jenny says, "I want to come with you." He replies, "This battle is filled with danger. Can't let you come." She tells him, "You helped me gain strength, and I became confident. I thought I had changed, but I couldn't form friendships. I gave in to loneliness. Then Irina saved me and called me her friend." Ard says, "I'm supposed to be back by dinner, so prepare it and wait for us. Irina will definitely be hungry when we return." And about not having friends, Irina isn't your only friend. I consider you a friend too, and when we return, we'll laugh and meet again like always. He then flies off, his armor boosting his speed. At that moment, the monster moves closer to Irina, and Zared laughs. "It's over for you." But suddenly, the monster explodes into ashes. Ard appears in a majestic entrance saying, "What a beautiful day, you insects. But this time, you've crossed the line. I won't let a single one of you escape." He draws 9 magic circles and obliterates every demon in sight, then breaks Irina's bonds. Zared says, "It's been a long time since I've felt this sensation." Ard tells Irina, "Don't worry, a lizard like her is no match for me." Zared retorts, "Do you protect monsters that much? This girl is not who you think she is. Her current name is just an alias. Her real name is Laville, a true member of the royal bloodline, and she carries the blood of the wicked lords." At the same time, Ulhite says to Jack, "Because of the strange changes in the world, everyone sided with the Demon King and grew to hate the lords. If people find out that our family descends from the wicked lords, the nation will fall into chaos." Jack replies, "So you rule from the shadows by appointing others?" Ulhite nods. "Yes, that's why we were forced to hide our identity." Back on the battlefield, Zared says to Ard, "This is her truth. This is why the organization Ajwa Lars has been chasing her." Ard answers, "None of that matters. I don't care if she's from their bloodline or even an evil ruler. What matters is that she's kind, braver than anyone, and that makes her worthy of protection and respect. To me, she shines like the stars, and I will never forgive you for calling her a monster." Zared hurls a lightning spell at him, but he blocks it with his weapon. She asks, "You didn't use any defensive magic. Is it because of the spear?" He says, "This spear nullifies offensive lightning spells." She fires a fire spell, but it misses. He says, "Did you not notice your feet?" He launches flame magic from the ground, but she cancels it. He says, "I believe even the strongest need a sense of danger. Do you still think you're invincible? Let me tell you something. There's nothing in this world that can't be destroyed." He throws the spear at her, launching her into the sky. She transforms into a massive dragon. Ard activates a shield around himself and Irina, and Zared breathes fire upon them. He tells Irina, "I'd rather you not see the rest of this battle." He summons a radiant beast called Lydia, who merges with him and transforms into a black sword. Ard takes flight. Lydia says, "A magic circle will activate in 2 seconds. Zared unleashes her fire and Ard blocks it. Lydia warns, "A direct hit will occur in 3 seconds. Ard says, "Activate the acceleration spell. We'll launch the counterattack after dodging." He deflects Zared's attack and says, "Prepare Alpha Blade." The sword glows. Lydia says, "Ready for execution beam." Ard fires the beam, but Zared dodges it. He says, "Prepare the second phase." She replies, now transforming the body entirely into the brave demon form. Second stage, Ard transforms into the form of Fravados, with white hair and reinforced armor. Zared fires magical beams at him, but he reflects them back. He says, "Now I understand everything about you. Not just how you craft your magic, but also your feelings. You hated how the world cast you into loneliness, but I won't forgive you for dragging my friends into your vengeance." Then he says to Lydia, "Prepare Sigma Blade." He charges an immense, terrifying magical force and unleashes it at Zared, obliterating her completely and returning to his natural form. Ard turned to Irina and asked, "Will we remain friends?" She smiled and replied, "Of course." He said, "Jenny is supposed to be preparing dinner. Let's hurry home." Irina whispered to herself, "Ard called me a friend. Even after learning the truth about me, I must grow stronger so I can stand by his side." The next day, a girl named Sylvie Marahine was training in magic at Demas. Suddenly, a massive monster appeared before her. She drew her sword and cleaved it in two. She told herself, I've grown stronger. I can help your older sister now, Lydia. You won't need to sacrifice anyone anymore. I must return to the village. They told me I would spend 300 years in Demas. When she returned to the village, she was shocked to see everything had changed. As she walked down a narrow path, a man greeted her. Good to see you. Training must have been exhausting. You look completely drained. I'm impressed you spent 3,000 years training. Startled, she said, What are you talking about? I only spent 300 years. He replied with a mysterious smile. Didn't you know that time flows differently in Demas? She asked. Who are you, and how do you know my name? He said, I simply felt like speaking to you. After all, we've been friends for a long time. She said, You seem oddly familiar. He replied, Of course I do. I once served Lord Varvatos and Lady Lydia. She asked, What is Varvatos doing now? He answered, He has moved on to another world. If you want to know where Lydia is, ask him. The Demon King has abandoned his past and duties. He now lives a quiet life under the name Ard Meteor. At that moment, Ard and Irina were in Goldie's office. Goldie said, A month from now, the Academy will host a school festival. It's a chance for students to showcase their learning and an important occasion to welcome guests from all over the world. We're planning a stage performance and a sword fighting tournament. I won't require you to fight, but I would like you to participate in the play. Both Irina and Jenny agreed, which forced Ard to agree as well. Goldie then handed Ard a scroll and said, This is a threat letter demanding the festival be cancelled. We receive such messages every year, but this one is different. It's written on human skin, and it's signed by Ghoulhead. What I ask of you is to join the stage play and guard the entire academy. I ask because I know your capabilities. If something happens during the event, ordinary students won't survive. Irina replied, Leave it to us. Ard won't be defeated by such threats. But Ard objected, Wait, I can't risk both of you. Irina said confidently, Don't worry. Jenny and I will fight beside you. What you need to focus on is showcasing your power. Ard told Goldie, Even so, we're not enough to protect the whole academy. We'll need to recruit ordinary students to help. Goldie said, Olivia is already handling that. She's recruiting anyone capable of assisting you. Later, Sylvie entered Ard's classroom and asked, Where's Ard? He was shocked when he saw her. But she went around asking everyone in the room about him, shouting, If I find you, I'll hit you. Show yourself now. Olivia hit her on the head and said, Have you not matured at all in 3,000 years? Ard shook his head, and when Sylvie saw him, she exclaimed, You're Ard! What happened while I was gone? Where's Lydia? What became of the evil leaders? He said, I have no idea what you're talking about. She snapped, Don't play dumb. I researched you. Olivia asked, Research? Tell us everything. Sylvie turned to Ard and said, If you won't answer, I'll make you. Ard replied, I don't understand why you're so aggressive toward me. She said, Is the Demon King running away? How pathetic. If I were you, shame would stop me from continuing to live. Irina stepped forward and said, How dare you say that? If you're looking for a fight, I'm ready to face you. Sylvie noticed the striking resemblance between Irina and Lydia and asked, What's your relationship with Ardi? Irina replied, We're friends. Sylvie said, Then you're my friend too. Irina answered flatly, No. Sylvie said, Then I'll fight you until you tell me everything. Olivia said, In that case, today's lesson is cancelled. Let's begin the match. Ard tried to object, but Sylvie mocked him. Scared? Didn't your stomach always act up at crucial moments? Olivia said, Why are you hesitant to spar with her? Teach her a lesson like you did with Eraldo. Ard thought to himself, She's using Sylvie to find out if I'm the Demon King. Then he said aloud, Fine. They headed to the combat arena, and Ard thought, I must lose in a spectacular fashion. I have no choice. Sylvie attacked with her sword, and they engaged in a fierce battle, filled with lightning-fast blows that released shockwaves of mana felt by all the students watching. Ard thought, This is bad. The level of this fight will only increase suspicion about me. Sylvie said, What's wrong? Intimidated by my growth? No matter what you do, you can't match me. Ard thought, I can't keep up with her. I'll strike her lightly and lose. He charged toward her, thinking, She still has the same habit. She leans forward just before attacking. He aimed for the exposed spot, but she blocked it and said, I knew what you were planning. She thrust her sword toward his face, but he shattered it and sent her flying. Then he ended the match with his sword at her. Olivia announced, Victory goes to Ardi. Ard thought, This just got worse. I let myself fight seriously. Sylvie stood up and said, I can't accept this. I'm stronger than the Demon King himself. She summoned a mighty sword. Ard said, Don't use that technique. But she ignored him and launched a powerful strike, which he deflected with ease. Olivia stopped her and said, Look around. The entire arena is destroyed, and your classmates are hurt. Your sword releases toxic mana with every blow. Did you forget? You let your emotions control you. You haven't changed, Still a little girl. Think of what Lydia would say if she saw you now. Sylvie shouted, why are you telling me this? What the Demon King did was far worse than what I've done. Irina quietly said, apologize when you make a mistake. I understand you're strong, but that's exactly why you must never hurt others with your power. Ard was stunned. He had seen this scene before, but it was Lydia standing in Irina's place. Sylvie began to cry and said, I'm sorry. Irina gently patted her shoulder to comfort her, while Ard stood in awe of the similarity. After that, they began discussing the play they would perform at the festival. They chose the deeds of the Demon King. Ard would play Varvatos and Irina would play Lydia. Suddenly they heard Sylvie screaming. They rushed over and asked what happened. She said, it's their fault. They saw me and started mocking me, saying I've become arrogant and blind. One of them said, we are nobles. We'll receive praise and rewards far beyond yours. Commoners will never rise to the level of nobles, no matter how hard they try. Irina snapped back, everything you're saying is nonsense. The distinction between nobles and commoners is meaningless. We'll give it our all, and we'll fight with fairness and honor. As they walked away, Olivia said to Sylvie, don't cry anymore. Meanwhile, the man who had met Sylvie earlier, the one who spoke of Ard, was watching all of them through a magical orb. He said to himself, are you enjoying yourself, Ard? I can't wait to see Sylvie's reaction when she discovers the truth about you. The next day, Ard and Irina patrolled the city, pretending they were just enjoying a casual outing. Suddenly, an explosion echoed in the distance. They rushed to the source of the sound and found Sylvie pointing her sword at an old man saying, you're acting suspiciously. Surrender yourself. Ard asked, what's going on here? She replied, this man is a demon. The old man wept, saying, you're mistaken, I'm not. But she said firmly, those with eyes like yours are usually demons. At that moment, Olivia appeared and said to Sylvie sternly, lower your sword. He's not a demon. He works at a restaurant I used to visit often. I even trained under him. Ard was shocked and thought, she was one of my military assistants? Sylvie sighed and said, I think I misjudged the situation. Olivia replied, you shouldn't have joined the patrols to begin with. Feeling dejected, Sylvie walked away. Irina looked at a tree across from them and said to Ard, every time I look at this tree, I feel something strange. He answered, as far as I remember, King Leville III, known as the Great Sword King, sealed something important in this place. She said, even my father said he knew nothing about it. Ard thought to himself, even Varvatos doesn't know? That must mean it's something huge. He then turned to Olivia and asked, do you know anything about this tree? She hesitated and replied, I can't discuss that matter with you. He said, that means it holds an important secret, doesn't it? She replied, since you mentioned the Sword King, one of the school festival events is the Sword King's Battle Tournament, and I've registered myself to participate. Ard said, then the champion has already been decided. She replied, don't think I'll win that easily. You're joining as well. In fact, I already submitted your registration form. He said in surprise, but I'm also taking part in the play. She replied firmly, it's impossible for you to do both. They then headed to the arena. Irina's first match ended with a single blow, a clean victory. Sylvie also won her match easily. When Olivia's turn came, her opponent surrendered before the match even began, fully aware of her power. Then came Ard's match, and he won as well. He thought to himself, if I lose now, they'll think I did it on purpose. So if I must lose, let it be in the final rounds. Next was Jenny's turn. Her opponent was one of the top candidates to face Olivia in the finals. He launched a fierce assault, and Jenny fell to the ground. Ard called out to her, it's too early to give up. Jenny surged forward with all her strength, broke through his defense, and defeated him. After the round ended, Ard stepped out of the arena. Jenny approached him and said, since you're alone, come with me to the exhibition party, please. There, he saw Eraldo and was shocked by how different he looked. He barely recognized him. The moment Eraldo saw Ard, he panicked. Ard said, I heard you locked yourself in your room after our last battle. Eraldo replied, I didn't do anything wrong. Please don't kill me. Ard asked, so what are you doing here? Eraldo responded, I just came to watch the show. When he saw Jenny on stage, he said, she's changed so much, and he looked down in despair. Ard said, you've changed too. Eraldo replied, after you defeated me, I became stronger and gained confidence. Jenny's family has served and protected mine for generations. In my childhood, she was always beside me as a guard, but she failed at everything. I felt I had to protect her, but my frustration with her slowness made me bully her. He continued, my father always told me, act like a son of House Zook. I was raised to believe that anyone not of noble blood was nothing but an insect. To escape that pressure, I started mocking Jenny and bullying her. What I did left a wound in her heart that hasn't healed. Maybe my words now are worthless, but I've felt some peace since you defeated me. It gave me a chance to change. Maybe half the wound is healed. Ard said. Your wound? Do you think you can rid yourself of guilt and self-hatred so easily? Eraldo replied. Maybe not. But I'll carry it for the rest of my life. I still haven't apologized to her, and I need to face her and do it properly. Even then, I doubt the wound will vanish, but I'm scared to confront her. And I don't think you'd understand how I feel. Ard replied. I do understand. Carry a similar burden. He thought to himself, I still haven't been able to confess to Sylvie what I did. Eraldo then said, I used to think you were a vile man who had everything, but now I see, you've suffered too. And he walked away. Jenny won the prize, and Ard congratulated her. Well done. They returned to the arena for the next round, and the long-awaited match between Ard and Olivia began. Olivia launched a flurry of attacks. Ard blocked and pushed her back. She quickly countered and pressed forward until her sword reached his neck. He activated his defensive magic, sending her flying out of the ring. The referee announced his loss due to the use of forbidden magic. Then came Irina's match against Jenny. It was a fierce battle, but Irina emerged victorious. The next day, the stage play began. Ard felt embarrassed, acting as his old self. During the performance, he recalled his battle against Avia de Savers, when he and Lydia stood before the enemy fortress. He told the soldiers, we'll follow our usual plan. Lydia and I will attack first and gather intel. Avia replied, discuss all you want. Chance to act on it tomorrow. Later that evening, Sylvie approached Varvatos and asked, am I useless? I know how to fight. I won't be a burden to you. He replied, Lydia and I both know that. But she doesn't want to lose you. She's thinking of making you her successor. You may be reckless, just like her, but few work as hard for others as you do. She said, but I want to help my sister. He replied, do whatever you wish. I'll take responsibility, though you should think of yourself first. Because if you die, I'll be devastated. The next day, Avia said, you may have defeated many of my soldiers, but now I'll destroy you with my greatest weapon, the legendary sword, Dim's Argus. The moment he stepped forward, a magic circle activated beneath his feet and exploded, as did all the traps beneath his soldiers. Lydia charged at him and took him down. Sylvie smiled and said, my plan worked. Varvatos asked, you're the one who planted those traps? She replied, yes. And this time, I earned the highest honor. He asked, do you remember where you placed the traps exactly? She said, I put them all over the battlefield. There's no way I remember where. He laughed and said, then how are we supposed to leave? The play ended to thunderous applause. But Sylvie spotted a girl with hair just like Lydia's and ran toward her, only to realize it wasn't her. Sylvie whispered in anguish, I miss you, sister. I miss you so much. Just then, the masked figure who had approached her outside the Dimas appeared again before her. And on the next day, Ard asked Ginny, I wonder, where could Sylvie be now? At that very moment, Sylvie appeared, looking at the ground and said to herself, I will win the tournament no matter what. And after the duel, I want you to meet me at the Sword King tree. The tournament began, and with it, the match between Sylvie and Irina. Sylvie moved at an incredible speed and ended the fight with a single blow that knocked Irina unconscious. In the evening, Sylvie stood beside the tree, holding a massive sword, and when Ard arrived, she said, I've been watching you since the moment you arrived. I wanted to know whether you're truly Viathos or not, and honestly, I feel a strong urge to kill you. Her eyes glowed red, and suddenly, both the sword and the tree lit up. She said, this is the great sword, Vald Galgules, the weapon Lydia once adored. It's the sword that was sealed inside the Sword King tree. Then Sylvie summoned the sword Dems Argos and charged at him swiftly. He dodged her strikes and flew off, but she followed him. Ard thought to himself, I believe someone has brainwashed her. Meanwhile, the masked man was watching them from afar, recalling the moment he had met Sylvie and told her, Ard Meteor is the Demon King. She replied, I don't think that's true. He said, in that case, I will force you to become my puppet. He placed his hand on her head and showed her a vision of Viathos killing Lydia, then said, kill your enemy. Sylvie attacked Ard and wounded him, and he fell to the ground. She began crying and said, I missed you, sister. Just then, Irina appeared and said, do you realize what you're doing? Sylvie lashed out at her in fury. Irina tried to block the strike with barrier magic, but Ginny cast fire magic at Sylvie. It had no effect. She ran toward Sylvie, but Sylvie kicked her so hard she flew away. Then she attacked Irina, but Ard appeared in the form of Varvatos and stopped her. Sylvie struck at him again. He tried to use nullification magic to break the mind manipulation, but it didn't work. He was forced to draw his sword and began blocking her blows, moving slowly, waiting for an opening that would make her lose consciousness. Suddenly, Sylvie heard Lydia's voice say, "Stop!" She snapped back to her senses. At that moment, the masked man appeared and struck her down. Ard asked him, "You're the one who brainwashed her, aren't you?" He replied, "And what if I am?" Ard said, "What is your goal?" The masked man replied, "Our goal is to resurrect the leader, and to do that, we must sacrifice this girl. You are a hindrance." He then grabbed the two great swords and attacked Ard, but Ard dodged. The masked man attacked again, but Ard severed his hand, sending him flying backward. The masked man tried to activate Dem's Argos, but the sword shocked him and fell from his hand. Ard said, "Great swords choose their wielders, and it seems they didn't choose you." Then Ard grabbed the sword and activated it, turning the masked man to ashes. The energy of Lydia, stored within the sword, appeared and embraced Sylvie, saying, "You haven't changed at all. Don't blame Viathos. That wasn't his fault. Goodness still exists in this world. Live, enjoy life, and we'll meet again." The next day, Ard, Ginny, and Irina were riding in a carriage on their journey when suddenly, time stopped, and they were transported to another dimension. There, they found a young boy with white hair standing before them. He said, "Welcome." Ard asked him, "Are you a demon?" The boy replied, "Humans tend to describe the unknown as evil, so from that perspective, I might be a demon. But if you focus on my nature, I'm not. If you want a word in your language, I am the leader." Ard asked, "And what do you want from us?" The leader replied, "There are infinite worlds. The past and the future repeat endlessly. The past cannot return, but a strange entity seeks to disrupt the order. Its encounter with the Demon King will cause a quake in your world, and one of them will disappear." Ard said, "Can you simplify that?" The leader said, "I want you to eliminate that entity." The three awoke from the vision. Ard said, "It seems we've been transported to the past." Ginny asked, "How do you know that?" He replied, "As you can see, 2 moons in the sky. That's impossible in our world. A past event caused one of the moons to vanish, and that was in ancient times." He added, "Judging by this region, I believe we're now in Machina, one of the regions of the kingdom of Faradia, the great nation ruled by Demon King Viathos. And according to what the leader said, we won't make any progress unless we meet the Demon King." At that moment, they heard a girl screaming. They saw her running from a giant scorpion. Irina said, "This is completely different from what we know in our world." Ard said, "It might not concern us, but we have to help her." Ard drew several magic circles and released a powerful magical energy that blasted the scorpion apart. Then Olivia appeared and said to him, "You are very powerful. Thank you for saving my subordinate." Ginny and Irina said, "That's Olivia." Olivia asked, "Have we met before?" Ard tried to cover and said, "Of course. They've heard about you and admire your reputation." But Olivia used powerful magic that knocked everyone unconscious, except Ard. She asked him, "Why didn't you lose consciousness?" He replied, "Because you didn't use enough magic." She said to him, "Follow me." The next day, they were in her house. Ginny and Irina were amazed by the place. Olivia said to Ard, "You seem interested in the state of the city." He said to her, "Yes. It's been a long time since I visited this region. May I ask, why did you bring us here?" She replied, "For your sake, to recruit you into our forces. As you know, we're in the era of mighty heroes, under constant attack from outsiders. Since then, the demons born from them have waged a fierce war against humans. The state of war we live in today is due to Queen Barvatos, who is developing human magic." She added, "And since you're so gifted in using magic and unleashed all that power with ease, you'll certainly play a major role in achieving our objective." Ard said to her, "I understand. In other words, you can't allow someone this powerful to roam freely." Then he added, "But I have 2 conditions. First, you must allow these 2 girls to join me." She replied, "You're sending them to an early grave." He said, "No, I will protect them myself." "And the second condition, we join the forces of Verda." She said, "Do you realize what you're saying?" He said to her, "Of course." She said, "A man as strong as you asking for logistical support. That means all you'll do is supply weapons, food, and healing." He said to her, "Contrary to appearances, we're just young magic students. I have no grand ambitions." She said, "It's true that most of the army are researchers and scholars who lack combat skills, so most of their tasks are logistical and medical, and they have the lowest death rate in our forces." He said to her, "If you agree to both conditions, then we shall serve your majesty from this day forth." She said to him, "Agreed. I'll use my authority to place you directly under her command." They then headed to Verda's research facility. Ard was thinking to himself, if they were under her army's command, the likelihood of those two being harmed would be far less, though doing so pains me deeply. Suddenly, the facility exploded before their eyes, and Verda appeared, exclaiming, I knew I could pull it off. The experiment is perfect. She then restored the facility and led them inside. She said, it's rare for someone to join my division. Are you all impressed by me? Ard replied, allow me to explain why we're here. He then told her that they had come from the future and narrated everything. Verda grew excited and said, I'll help you find a way back to your time. Suddenly, Sylvie stormed in, chasing Verda. Then Lydia entered, surprising Ard. Lydia grabbed Verda and shouted, I told you you're not sending enough reinforcements. Are you mocking me? Verda responded, then use these 3. But Ard provoked Lydia, prompting her to say, fight me outside. They stepped out, and she attacked with swift punches, all of which he blocked. Then she tricked him by flinging sand into his eyes and kicked him. She followed with a powerful punch to his stomach that sent him flying. Ard lunged at her and threw a punch, but she struck his chin just before it landed, lifting him off the ground. Yet he leveraged his body on her head and struck down, sending her to the ground. They exchanged blows until sunset, both exhausted, and the battle ended in a draw. She said, you're truly strong. Take the 2 girls and be my support unit. I wanted you on the front lines, but no matter. You must have your reasons. He replied, since you figured that out, don't ask the impossible. She said, I need your strength. He recalled when she had said those exact words to him before and said, I heard you communicated with the Demon King. Can you help us meet him? She responded, I have no objection, but even if I recommend you, he'll hate the idea. If you want to meet him, you must accomplish something worthy to earn his trust. He only opens his heart to those he trusts. That evening, Ard stood alone when Latima, Lydia's maid, entered and told him they would be staying in the palace until the next campaign. She added that Lydia had asked her to tell him to use the house freely as if it were his own, or that of a close friend. He thought to himself, the house of a close friend? I killed someone irreplaceable with my own hands. Do I have the right to consider her a close friend? The next day, Ard was stationed with Verda's forces in a position far from the front lines. There was no major engagement with the enemy, and even if there had been, the magical tools would have surely protected them. He thought to himself, based on Verda and Lydia's conversation, we are now in the past. Back when I was the Demon King, I had expanded my forces, and the war against the demons and outsiders was nearing its end. The demons ruled this region, and we had crushed the allied armies of Lydia and Verda, along with many fortress nations. This laid the foundation for our dominion over the continent. Yet, I recall no irregularities in that battle. Lydia's forces launched an assault on the enemy army. Suddenly, Verda's forces were struck by magical lightning. As the enemy advanced toward Ard, he said, I see. He aims to destroy the army's supplies and medics, a basic war tactic. My assumption that we'd be fine was wrong, but this is an opportunity. Perhaps not enough to meet the Demon King, but still an accomplishment. Meanwhile, Lydia's forces breached the enemy's fortress. She thought to herself, something's off. The commander hasn't shown up even though we've arrived. A soldier reported, Verda's forces supporting us from the rear were ambushed, led by Commander Bolyan. Lydia was shocked and rushed to assist them. At the same time, the commander neared Ard, but the latter trapped him in an ambush and eliminated him. Lydia and Sylvie arrived, and Lydia said, looks like it ended before we even got here. Ard replied, he wasn't worthy of killing, but even if the commander is weak, he's still a commander, and I made sure to capture him myself. Lydia responded, weak? That's the high-ranking military commander we've been trying to defeat. In any case, you're amazing. It's only a matter of time now before you meet him. The next day, Lydia took them to the Demon King's palace. Irina and Jenny were awestruck by its grandeur, and Ard felt proud. He had built it in the past. Just before they entered the main gate, a fiery magical projectile flew toward them. Ard shielded them with a magical barrier, and a strange man appeared saying, apologies. Consider this my way of congratulating you on your achievement. Ard replied, I've heard much about you, Alvarto. Lydia said to him, you never change. If you want to fight, I'll take you on. He responded, I could never face the hero, of course. Then Farvados appeared and said, why are you causing trouble? I don't recall summoning you, Alvarto. Leave immediately, or else. Alvarto replied, understood. I'll go now. Then turned to Ard and said, follow me. Farvados sat on his throne as servants gathered around. He ordered them, leave us. Jenny exclaimed, the Demon King is truly impressive. Farvados asked, who do you mean by the Demon King? Ard clarified, she was merely using your secondary title, Your Majesty. That's what people at the harbor have been calling you, but you're not aware of that title yet. He thought to himself, strange, I thought the title of Demon King had already spread by this time. Varvatos responded, I know someone else who is called the Demon King. Ard was stunned. Perhaps we misunderstood. I apologize for this strange mistake. Ard later went to Verda and told her what had happened. He said, he didn't ask anything of us, and I didn't want to delve into the title matter. Verda replied, there must be a discrepancy in perception between who you consider the Demon King and who we know. Perhaps your history is different from ours. It's just a theory, but I believe someone altered history. That change led to the appearance of a different Demon King in this dimension. Someone unfamiliar to you. Ard recalled the leader's words about a being trying to manipulate the system. I think we misunderstood what the leader said. He asked us to meet the Demon King and eliminate the strange entity, but if both requests refer to the same thing, Jenny said, that means the one changing history is the Demon King of this world. If we defeat him, we'll restore our history and return to our world. Irina suggested, why don't we ask Varvatos for help with this? Verda responded, impossible. The Demon King of this world appeared suddenly 3 years ago and took control of the outsiders' lands and ours in an instant. We don't even know his goal. We tried negotiating, but he ignored us. Varvatos fought him once and couldn't defeat him. Ard replied, Varvatos won't act without a solid reason. Verda said, you seem to understand Varvatos well. He answered, maybe we can convince him if we achieve a greater feat. Then Lydia entered and said to Ard, in the next battle you'll join me on the front lines. He responded with enthusiasm. Understood. On the way she asked, why did you suddenly agree after asking to be in the logistical support unit? He replied, you could say it's what we need right now. She said, it was wise to leave the girls behind this time. He asked, who will we be facing? She said, the King of Curses, Mephiles. Ard was shocked. Sylvie said, looks like you're scared. He replied, I've heard that name before. She explained, just heard of him? Sorcerers are ranked from the 1st to the 7th tier, as are demons. But Mephiles is among the highest ranks of demons. Ard thought to himself, impossible to forget. Mephiles is one of the reasons I ended up killing Lydia. They arrived at the fortress, only to find an army of skeletons before them. Sylvie immediately launched an attack, but Ard used wind magic and obliterated them all. He muttered to himself, this time, I won't let history repeat itself like before. Suddenly, they saw tongues of flame blazing from within the fortress, prompting them to rush inside. There, they discovered that all the enemies were burning, and Mephist's head rolled to the ground. Before them stood a man clad in armor and a helmet, who said, you're late. Ard asked him, who are you? He replied, you already know. I am the Demon King, the violent and tyrannical beast, the enemy of this world. Deliver my words to your commander. I will seize any land I set my eyes on. If he wants it back, let him come take it by force. Then he vanished. The following day, an emergency meeting was held concerning the Demon King. One of Viatus's retainers said, wait, there are individuals here who do not deserve to attend this meeting. Another replied, these warriors have gained the admiration of Lady Verda and Lady Lydia. Their presence must be accepted. At that point, Varvatos spoke. These 7 are Lydia's guests, and we cannot ignore their contributions to the war. Then he turned to Ard and said, I've changed my mind about the Demon King. Now that he's declared war, we must defeat him. We'll confront him with our full strength and end this in a single day. One of the members asked, are you saying we'll send all 4 leaders to the battlefield? Varvatos answered, I intend to enter the battlefield myself. Another member warned, if you do that, no one will be left to lead the defense in other regions. The enemy will strike with all his might at once. Varvatos responded, you are right. That's why we will end it all that day. Ard asked, but the Demon King stated that he cannot be killed. How will we defeat him? Varvatos replied, that is a secret. The battle will begin in 3 days. My order to you, destroy the enemy's fortress. Later, Ard returned to his room and thought to himself, history should have already changed. Those who were supposed to die are still alive. Lydia remains unharmed. The commander has ordered us to correct the timeline. If we return like this, suddenly the Demon King appeared and said, what you're thinking will come to pass exactly. Ard asked him, do you need something from me, Demon King? He replied, history does not bend so easily. At this stage, a tremendous corrective force will activate. Lydia will meet her fate eventually. Ard asked, are you also from a different era? He replied, stop pretending. I know you are Ard Meteor. There's no need to keep up the mask. I am you, and you are me. Wearing your mask before a mirror? Ard asked, what do you mean? The Demon King removed his helmet, and Ard was shocked to find that he was staring at himself. The Demon King said, don't be surprised. I was sent to this era. It's not strange for this to happen. True, we are the same person, but the worlds we were born in are different, and that led to different experiences. We both lived as Vatos and transitioned to another world as Ard Meteor. I gained a lot, only to lose everything quickly. But you haven't lost anything yet, have you? Things didn't go right for me. So I cast aside the name Ard Meteor and became known as a total failure, a stray being, a calamity. Ard asked, how did you get to this era? He replied, the same way you did. The moment I accepted the commander's offer, I found myself here. Ironically, I achieved my goal by wearing the name I once hated. Ard asked, and what is your goal? He answered, to save Lydia. I want to correct my mistakes. The same applies to you, doesn't it? There's no need for us to fight each other. Ard said, let me ask you 2 questions. Did you discuss this with my counterpart from this era? He said, no. I hate myself more than anything, especially the version of me in this era. Since my path led to Lydia's loss and forced me to kill her with my own hands, I cannot forgive myself. Ard asked, but why kill my counterpart in this era? If your goal is to save Lydia, opposing me is foolish. He replied, certain circumstances prevent me from cooperating with him, no matter what. Unfortunately, I've been ordered to kill him. Just as the commander gave you a mission, he gave me one too. Destroy this world. Ard was stunned. And what does destroying the world have to do with saving Lydia? He answered, do you remember how Lydia died? Ard said, of course. I could never forget. He continued, then you can't understand how I feel. The curse devoured her mind. She lost her allies, lost everything. And with that, she was completely destroyed. In the end, her story came to a close. Ard replied, to face the last of the outsiders, I had to take a great risk. I considered ignoring the final enemy, but when I weighed Lydia's life against ending all the outsiders, I chose to kill Lydia. The Demon King grabbed him and said, why didn't you tell her how you felt? If you had, none of this would have happened. It was my fault. Lydia entering enemy territory alone. Her loss in battle and transformation into a threat to the world, that was on me. Even after that, the world didn't let me rest. When I moved to another world as Ard Meteor, all my goals, hopes, and dreams were stripped away. From that moment, I began piling up sins. I want to end this. I want to save Lydia. I want to become the enemy the world despises and have her kill me. Once I lead her down the path I was forced to walk, everything will end for me. And you must prepare to join in this sin. When Ard reached out his hand, he heard Lydia's voice in his mind saying, don't do anything, idiot. So he stopped. The Demon King said, I'll give you time to think. I'll await your answer in 3 days. Then Ard went with Lathema, and on the way he asked her, have you known Lydia for a long time? She replied, yes. He asked, if you had to choose between your life and Lydia's, which would you pick? She said, that's a foolish question. I'd do anything for Lydia. They went to the village with Lydia, who tried to make him enjoy his time, but she ended up enjoying it herself. A disagreement arose between them, and they fought until they were exhausted. She then asked, have you cleared your mind? He replied, you're clever despite your foolishness. He asked, if you had the chance to sacrifice everything to regain what you lost, would you do it? She said, come, I'll show you something, and led him to a ruined, deserted place. She said, this is the sin I committed. The spirits of those she had killed appeared, and she said, I know I must face them. But I run away. This town was home to demons. We attacked it in the past because it was a strategic point in the war. We had to secure it at any cost. Bringing down the castle and defenses was easy, but holding it was hard. The townspeople refused to listen and attacked us at night, so we decided to kill them all. Had we not, we would have lost our friends. People might call them monsters, but they were humans just like us. I will fight and fight, carve my way through battle, and build a world free of threats, even for demons. Only then can I die. A miserable, wretched death. I don't deserve for you to change your principles or sacrifice yourself for me. Ard said, and what about our feelings? She replied, I must atone for my sins. At the very least I have to. Otherwise, I won't die with my head held high. Please, don't try to change how my end will be. And on the following day, the battles continued against the demons, enemies, and dragons. Fator drew numerous magic circles, and Parvatos used them to create black holes that swallowed the dragon's whole, while Sylvie and Lydia fought on the ground with their swords. Sylvie said, it would have been easier if Kars was here, but he went somewhere. Lydia replied, I believe he has something of great importance to deal with. I'll leave the situation to you here, Sylvie. Meanwhile, Ard and the Demon King were standing upon the ruined land. The Demon King asked him, what is your answer? Will you save Lydia with me? Ard replied, I will not save Lydia. He asked, and how did you come to that decision? Ard said, because she does not wish to be saved. She wanted to abandon her title as the hero and die to atone for her sins. That's what she told me. The Demon King cast a spell and unleashed beams toward Ard, but Ard dodged them and retaliated with the same magic, though it had no effect. The Demon King then used flame magic beneath the ground, and Ard leapt to evade it. The Demon King trapped him inside a set of magic circles, but Ard said, "This is a foolish technique," and dispelled all the circles. Then he descended and cast a spell that exerted immense pressure on the Demon King, but the latter broke free, saying, "Understanding the scope of magic and inventing a spell to counter it was a skill I mastered long ago." Ard replied, "It seems we won't reach an end." The Demon King said, "I knew I should never have made you my enemy. Do you think I didn't foresee things reaching this point? Do you know why I made the day of your answer the same day the war began?" At the same time, Ma was accompanying Jenny and Irina and said to them, "It has begun. This is part of Ard's plan. He uncovered the secret behind the Demon King's power and ordered me to go with you to the castle under his control." Irina asked her, "And why did he tell you and not inform us directly?" She replied, "Because the matter is extremely confidential, and the mission is of utmost importance." They stopped, and Irina said, "Will you tell us the plan then?" Ma said, "Ard concluded that the Demon King's strength comes from a secret technique, soul separation and sealing it within a suitable vessel, which renders him immortal. Ard identified two flaws in this technique. First, the user must remain within a specific range from the vessel, and second, destroying the vessel results in death. Most likely, the Demon King keeps his vessel inside the castle. Ard discovered a secret passage leading inside, and will use it." Irina asked, "But why us? Why did Ard entrust us with something this critical?" Jenny encouraged her, saying, "That's not like you, Irina. You're the kind of person who lights up in moments like this. In times like these, you get fired up and take action." Irina replied, "You're right, let's do this." Suddenly, Latima leapt out and pushed them aside, taking a hit to her leg. She said, "I'll hold off the enemies. Go now, quickly." Meanwhile, Ferda was destroying demons using her machine and beam pistols, while the others used magic to crush the army. Irina and Jenny reached the vessel, but as they approached, a trap was triggered beneath them, binding them. Latimaya appeared and said, "This spell seals your magical abilities." At the same moment, the Demon King showed Ard that he had captured Irina and Jenny. He said, "If you care about their lives, then join me." Ard asked, "And what would happen to them if I refused?" He replied, "Nothing. It's just a performance." Ard said, "You're just trying to give me an excuse to tell them you forced me to join you to save the hostages." The Demon King said, "I know Lydia will die, but she's content, not sorrowful. As for us, we were forced to kill our dearest friends with our own hands. We encouraged her to make the decision that brought us to this point. We will bear the guilt forever. Even if Lydia wants a tragic end, isn't it only natural to wish for her happiness? I will reap countless souls to ensure Lydia stays alive. I will push this world to the brink of ruin if I must to save her. The lives of others mean nothing to me. Surely a part of you deep inside shares this feeling. So why hesitate? And if you still hesitate, I'll give you another excuse. The girls may be unharmed now, but I can't guarantee their safety if Viatos's army reaches the castle." Ard replied, "Placing the vessel here was a calculated move, wasn't it?" He said, "Let me make it simple. If you don't want to lose them, join me." At that moment, Irina asked Latima, "Why are you doing this?" She replied, "There is only one reason behind my actions, and that is Lydia. You don't need to know the details. You're just tools to manipulate Ard." Jenny said, "I can break free from this." Latima asked, "And what will you do without magic?" Jenny said, "True, we can't use magic, but we can use spell script." They used it and freed themselves. Latima immediately summoned a horde of monsters. Suddenly, Lydia appeared and defeated them. Irina asked her, "How did you know we were here?" She replied, "The hairpins I gave you are magical devices that track your current status." Latima shouted, "Surrender." Lydia answered, "We will not destroy the world for my sake. I know you all feel this urge, but this is my will." She attacked the monsters and vanquished them, then struck Latima until she lost consciousness. More monsters appeared. Lydia fought them, charged at the Demon King's vessel, and destroyed it. At the same time, Ard said to the Demon King, "You don't want to save Lydia. You just want to escape the guilt of killing her. You want to forgive yourself and die in peace. You're using Lydia for that. You're a coward. We always acted based on our selfish emotions, never thinking of others. Why not, just once, do something for someone else? We must fulfill Lydia's wish." The Demon King grew angry and shouted, "Silence!" He gathered his energy and added, "Yes, you're right. I want to forgive myself and save her. But even so, I won't let you deny the truth of my feelings for Lydia. Then they both summoned Lydia's spirit and transformed into Demon King forms, engaging in a violent clash. The Demon King asked, "Why did you cross into another world? Wasn't it because you couldn't bear the loneliness? How dare someone like you accuse me of running away? Have you forgotten our final words to Lydia?" Ard responded, "It's impossible to forget." He recalled the past when Lydia asked him, "What are you thinking?" He answered, "What do you mean?" She asked, "Why did you accept their request to cease fighting?" He replied, "We'll stop fighting, establish a truce with the enemies, and allow them to rule their land. But we will never recognize a demon nation, and will bear the consequences." She said, "How can you trust them? We should crush them now. This is our chance." He said, "I won't change my mind, no matter what you say." She told him, "I thought we shared the same ambition, but you're a traitor." He said, "Have you ever considered how I feel?" She answered, "No, I don't care how you feel." He said, "If you want to fight them, do it yourself. As for me, I no longer care what you do." The Demon King said, "I shouldn't have uttered those words. I never meant to say them. I should have been honest and told her how I truly feel, that I don't want her to die. I won't accept that Lydia meets such a tragic end. I must save her." Then he descended to the ground, wielding his sword with all the strength he had. Suddenly, Lydia appeared and grabbed the Demon King's hand. Ard looked at him and said, "I understand. If this is what you wish, then I will carry it out." He then struck the Demon King with his sword, saying, "It's over, you stray calamity, my other self." The other replied, "Do you think things will be better this way? Remember the days we spent with Lydia, what she meant to you. Please, I cannot fail. Now I understand. After losing her, I realized I want to save her." Ard gripped the sword and pierced it into his heart. Ard's body began to glow. And at that very moment, Irina, Jenny, and Lydia began to shine as well. Lydia said to them, "It seems you're going back to your world." Jenny asked, "You knew?" She replied, "Sort of. Can I ask you something? What has the future become? Has the world turned into a place where everyone can smile?" Irina felt sadness and said nothing. Jenny too remained silent for a moment, then gently assured her, "The world is a wonderful place, just as you dreamed, Lydia." Irina added, "I enjoy every single day. Even though we argue sometimes, we are happy. I believe this is truly a world where everyone can smile." Lydia smiled and said, "I see. So our sacrifices were not in vain. May I ask one last favor? There's something I must tell Ardi." She stepped closer and whispered to them, and then they returned to their world. Varvatos ended the war, and Ard moved to another dimension, where he met the leader who said, "I'm impressed by what you've achieved in your mission." Ard asked him, "Who exactly are you, and what are you after?" He replied, "I can't tell you, but I hope you believe me. I'm at least an ally of yours." Ard responded, "Even so, I hope we never meet again." And the man said, "Likewise, I truly hope so." The three of them awoke. Sylvie said to them, "We've arrived." Olivia added, "Get down quickly. The rest of the students have already started." Sylvie stepped out and said, "It's been a long time since I last visited the old royal capital." Irina turned to Ard and said, "Lydia left you a message." She said, "No matter what happens, we'll always be the closest of friends." Tears welled up in his eyes. He felt as if Lydia were standing behind him, gently urging him forward to move on and live his life. And thus, this was the bittersweet end. The end of Season 1 of The Tale of Ard. We hope you enjoyed it. Before you close the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow more new anime content. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new episode, and click the like button to support us. See you in more anime adventures. Until next time.